Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yup, what's good, original crew, man? We're back, baby. We're back with another Just Thought Lounge for y'all today. Today's true crime docu is on Sasha Skare. I want to say that. And the murder of Martell, DeRouen.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Correct pronunciation.
But I want to say that's how you pronounce it. If I do mispronounce it, I do apologize, man. But hey, with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want to first support, all you got to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals,
liking it with a thumbs up.
Man, let's get it. Let's check it out. Let's see what's about. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
When police in San Antonio, Texas, responded to a welfare check at a high-end apartment complex, they encountered an unlikely and tragic scene. A single bullet hole shot through the front door of an apartment unit. The victim, 34-year-old Martell DeRouen, dead inside from a single gunshot to the head. The state of the apartment told the story of a heated argument, but the door was deadbolted from the inside. The shot clearly made from outside the door. Recollections of neighbors, doorbell camera footage, and a bizarre 911 call would eventually lead to the shooter, and a conclusion that few would have predicted. Hi everyone, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today's case begins as a very odd one. As the pieces come together, there appears to be an abundance of evidence, though the incident as a whole has been interpreted very differently. When all is said and done, this case comes down to who it is that you believe is telling the truth. Let's take a look. On Tuesday, the 26th of January, 2021, San Antonio police were called out to the towers off of La Cantera Parkway, a newly built luxury apartment complex. The SAPD had been contacted by the family of 34-year-old Martell DeRouen to conduct a welfare check. Martell lived alone in a new one-bedroom unit in the complex. He had been uncharacteristically out of contact and unreachable for days. When police arrived, they found Martell's vehicle parked in the building's garage. There was every reason to believe that he was at home, but he was not responding. A maintenance team was eventually called to force open his apartment door. It had been locked and deadbolted from the inside. While crews worked to force their way inside, they noticed a hole in the door near to the peephole and knocker. This small hole was unmistakable. It had been made from a bullet. When the team managed to push their way inside, they found Martell just on the other side of the door, deceased and collapsed to the floor. He had sustained a single gunshot to the head.
Wow.
Police believed they were at the scene of a homicide. As word spread of the death to family and friends, the shock and grief felt by the DeRouen family was almost palpable. Many had difficulty processing the murder. They thought there must have been some kind of mistake. Martell was not a man with enemies. Smart, capable, and successful, Martell was a military veteran after serving 6 years in the Air Force. He had been a decorated sergeant in Air Force intelligence. Martell's role had seen him working with some of the military's most sensitive and confidential intelligence. Since leaving the service, he had pursued a career in music. As a rapper, he went by the name Cardone, and had recently signed with the Sony-affiliated music label, The Orchard. He was active in the music scene across San Antonio, and often worked as a sound engineer, helping to record music for other up-and-coming talent out of his own studio. Friends and colleagues knew him to be a bit of a rarity, a successful rapper that was nonetheless always very humble. Martell was a cousin of Beyoncé's through his grandmother, Agnes DeRouen. Yet despite striving for years to hit it big in the music industry, he never...
So I guess they shared their parents?
through his grandmother.
Agnes.
But I wonder is it saying that
his
grandmother and her grandmother could be sisters, or do they share? I don't know. I will have to know. Yeah.
Yet despite striving for years to hit it big in the music industry, he never name-dropped.
Something he would even mention to people. We just have to put it in his bios because it's worthy to put in there, but he doesn't like stuff like that.
When Martell was a teenager, he met the woman that would become his future wife, Joya. The two reconnected after both graduating high school and would marry in 2007. By the time of his death, the couple had been formally separated for roughly 2 years, living in separate apartments only a few miles away and renting out the house that they had owned together. Nonetheless, the two remained cordial. They spent time together every week. Joya had driven to the Towers apartments on the morning that Martell was found. After speaking with his parents, she had called, texted, and emailed with no response. So she drove over to check up on him. The last time anyone had spoken with Martell was 4 nights earlier on January 22nd. The medical examination and investigation unfortunately aligned with this timeline. Martell had been shot through his door 3 days prior. Further inside the apartment, police began piecing together the story of Martell's last night. Broken dishes shattered into pieces covered the kitchen floor. In the bedroom, the sheets had been torn off of the mattress and had become twisted into a pile. Next to the sheets was a do-rag and a broken acrylic nail. One perhaps pulled off of the head and the other broken from a finger during a struggle. There were also signs of a physical altercation elsewhere. The bed frame had come apart. The headboard was torn from the rest of the frame. A basket that appeared to have been knocked to the floor held a cartridge with bullets, but no gun. In the closet, police found a pistol case, the one provided by the manufacturer. When they looked inside, the pistol was missing. The neighbor living directly below Martell's apartment unit reported overhearing a loud and violent argument on the night of the 22nd. She took a short video of her ceiling, which recorded some of the yelling and items breaking. The noise was loud enough to permeate through the floor and into her home. This neighbor did not, however, place a call to the police, but someone else did. Reviewing emergency calls from the night of Martell's death, investigators uncovered a call from a woman in the Tower apartments, locked out of her unit and concerned about a hole in the door. The woman was long gone by the time the officers responded to the building. But on the phone call, she had given a name: Joya DeRouen, Martell's estranged wife.
San Antonio 911, this is Brett. Do you need police, fire, or EMS?
I need police now.
What address?
It's 16735 O'Connor Road, not O'Connor, Rockington Parkway.
16735?
Yes,
Okay, and this is the Towers?
yes.
Okay, and your name?
My name is Joya DeRouen.
Okay, what's going on?
I'm trying to get in my apartment, but I'm not able to get in. I'm just not able to get in, and I think my husband is injured.
Your husband's hurt?
Yes.
Do you hear him?
No, he's not responding, and I called him. He's just not responding. And there's a hole in his door, and I don't know what's going on, honestly.
There's a hole in the door?
Yes.
Okay, where are you now?
I'm at the same address.
Are you outside the apartment, or where are you?
I'm outside the door, and I cannot get in.
And you don't have a key?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Do you live there?
Yes, I do.
And what is your name?
My name's Joya DeRouen.
Spell the first name?
Joya is Joia.
And your husband's name?
Martell.
Last name?
DeRouen, DeRoun.
All right, and it's apartment 1605?
Yes.
All right, we'll get an officer over there.
On the night of the shooting in the unit across the hallway, new resident Caroline was waiting on DoorDash to deliver her dinner for the evening. Mistaking the noise of knocking on a door from the hallway as her food delivery, Caroline opened the door. Instead of her food, she encountered a woman in her 20s, wearing a long green sundress, banging on the door to the unit across the hall. Caroline was asked by police at the scene to take a look at the onlookers outside of the building, where Martell's wife, Joya, in shock and confusion, waited for more information. Was that the woman that she saw banging on Martell's door on the night that he died? No, Caroline said.
Ooh.
Joya DeRouen was definitely not the woman that she saw that night. Caroline's recollection was supported when investigators sourced what would prove to be the pivotal piece of evidence, a Ring doorbell camera from an apartment just down the hall from Martell's. Facing into the hallway, the camera captured a young woman around 9 p.m. on January 22nd. The woman wore no shoes. She was dressed in a green sundress. In one hand, she carried a cell phone. In her right hand, a pistol. Looking beyond the destruction inside of the apartment, investigators found further indications of the second person, the mystery woman who had been with Martell on the night of his murder.
Some DNA in there.
By the window was an easel and partially completed painting, which sat abandoned. A pair of shoes, likely women's, sat on the floor just in front, surrounded by more painting supplies. 2 glasses of Hennessy, a type of brandy, were out as well. These drinks left unfinished. A large purse sat on a chair next to the broken bed, an iPad on a footstool. Then, finally, they located 2 debit cards, both with the same name on them. Sasha Skare. "21-year-old Sasha Skare was an aspiring songwriter and vocalist. She lived primarily in Austin with her mother and freelanced as a graphic designer, making corporate logos and flyers. According to Joya, Martell had met Sasha at the shoot for one of his music videos years earlier in 2016. At the time, 17-year-old Sasha was doing some modeling and trying to launch her own music career.
Oh, shit.
He offered to help her out. Years later, after his separation, the two became romantically involved. But in the aftermath of his death, Sasha was nowhere to be found. Her photo was distributed in the media. Friends posted to her Instagram account, "Turn yourself in." This was not the first time that Sasha Skare had been sought by law enforcement. In December 2019, the Austin Police Department responded to the call of a shooting on North Lamar Boulevard at just past 1 a.m. At the scene, officers met then 20-year-old Sasha Skare, who told them she and her boyfriend went to meet someone to buy marijuana. He had been shot in the chest. Police found her boyfriend, Andrew Bass, in the back seat of a car parked at Jeff's auto body shop. Emergency medics performed CPR, but he was declared dead at the scene. In an interview...
Man, this whole shit messy, see? It's messy from the start of even how they met, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, she's inspiring. Like, don't get it twisted. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Somebody can meet her, but it's like, now y'all romantic. You should, and honestly, she your type. Because she very much so kind of similar to your wife. So, I wondered, did he have romantic interest into her when he first met her? But realized that, oh, she's young, so I can't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to work with, because that, I'm going to tell y'all, like, just speaking from somebody who does have experience in this shit, it happens a lot, especially with young ladies who have aspirations of being in the music industry. A lot of fellas don't see your potential. They see the potential of them being with you in some shape, form, or fashion. I remember just a brief story about when I was in college, right? This girl she was trying to sing. She was working on an album, like a project album to be able to put out, like a mixtape or something, but you can shop it to labels.
Yeah.
And so it's like a demo tape, right? And this dude we was in school with, somehow I don't know the true backing of why they kind of fell off, but they fell off, right? Then he didn't want to release the music to her. She was like, I worked on so many songs with him. We were working. Now he won't give me my music.
Yeah.
She was like, that's everything I have. Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn, that's fucked up. I asked her a little straight up, you want me? But he was trying to hit. Mm. She was like, I went into him like that. Like, we work close and well together. I'm not interested in him. I told her, because I ain't really care for the dude. I was cool with the dude, but also didn't really care for the dude like that too. And I previously had told the dude I was going to whoop his ass before anyway. I was like, I asked her, I said, you want me to get it for you? She was like, nah, I was just worried about it. I was like, I know some other producers. Yeah. She was like, well, yeah, introduce me to some other producers I can work with. I was like, but it's fucked up. He won't give you your music back. Yeah. But long story short, ladies, be careful, because there are evil people in that industry and in that game.
They have alternative motives.
Yeah, a lot of them don't want to really care about you succeeding as an artist. They're just trying to be able to
fulfill their needs. Kind
of basically groom you. My bad. Yeah. I'm going to start here. Basically groom you into building this relationship, this bond, until I can get what I want out of it. Yeah. It's sick, though.
But he was declared dead at the scene. In an interview with police, Sasha said she and Andrew went to a grocery store to meet someone and make their purchase. She told them she parked the car and Andrew walked off to make the deal. Then, she claimed that she heard gunshots soon after. She ran after Andrew to find him wrestling with another man holding a gun. Police reported that Sasha was very adamant that her boyfriend was the one who set up the meeting. But investigators later found messages on the man's phone between him and Sasha, setting up all of the details. They said it was clear from the messages that the two knew each other, and that Sasha set up the meeting with the intention of robbing the man. When she and her boyfriend attempted to do so, he was killed and the other man seriously injured. Sasha had run off with the gun. She faced a charge of aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon and was released on bond. In March 2020, three people including...
This some shit she just do. What the fuck? Man. Ain't no coincidence this happened.
No.
In March 2020, three people, including Sasha Skare, were severely burned when a propane tank exploded inside of a residential building. The explosion happened after a 200-pound propane tank linked to a gas line developed a fracture and began leaking gas into a nearby home. The scars on Sasha's face had healed by the winter of 2021. In February, after word spread of Martell's murder, she turned herself in to San Antonio police. 2 years later, Sasha Skare stood trial for...
Nigga, is that her? I ain't seen someone go from multiple different looks. Bruh, she looked... Yeah. That's from the... And I ain't never seen somebody like... She wasn't severely burned then.
I mean, it's still severely burned, but it probably just like... It depends on what degree it was.
Yeah.
The fracture and began leaking gas into a nearby home.
That's crazy, bro.
The scars on Sasha's face had healed by the winter of 2021. In February, after word spread of Martell's murder, she turned herself in to San Antonio police. 2 years later, Sasha Skare stood trial for first-degree murder.
She and her eating good.
The prosecution argued that Sasha, after arguing with Martell inside the apartment, had left with his gun. She later returned to the door, angry, carrying the weapon as shown in the doorbell footage. The bullet hole in the door was made next to the peephole. They argued that she had fired with intent, targeting a location on the other side of the door where she knew Martell to be standing.
Throughout our trial, we're going to present the...
That's why I was like, the whole time I'm like, how would she know precisely where the fuck to shoot? Because it's only one bullet. She didn't have the... So it's only the one in the chamber. He must always go to the door and look and always have that same position all the time. That's somebody who has to know where you be placed at.
And like if you in there and you watching and you doing, like you kind of have a good...
She's over there a lot.
Yeah, of like, okay, he normally at this level. Especially if he has a peephole, you can just
But
kind of eye
also,
it.
that's low key premeditation though. Because I don't watch somebody position.
I'm not saying I'm watching him to do. No. I'm not talking about her no more. I'm just saying, period. Like somebody that's observant. I'm not watching you and being observant and like, oh, so that I could take you out. I'm just an observant person. I don't know what type of time she was on.
I'm saying for you to even know, like, all right, he normally.
I need to know, like, also what was the motive behind, like you in there, you painting. But I'm saying you in his house, you painting.
And they both been
drinking, whatever. Your stuff is over there. Like, what happened?
You always want some motive. No, I'm just saying, like, she be like, I need to know the motive.
Because I just don't be understanding. There's nothing ever that will make me feel like I got to take somebody's life. Yeah. But that's just my mindset. But I just don't get it.
These various facts to you. And at the end of the trial, you're going to learn that, number one, there's a physical confrontation in there by the evidence that we see, broken items. Number two, undisputed, Caroline saw a young African-American woman Friday night banging on the door, trying to get in. You're going to learn, number three, that Martell clearly locked everybody out of that apartment. He clearly wanted no one in there. You're going to learn, number four, that a bullet went through the door, near the keyhole, into his head. Mm-hmm. And the most, probably in my mind, the most compelling part, number five, a video recording of the defendant walking with a semi-automatic 9mm down the hallway on a cell phone. And when you put these items together, we're going to ask you to find the defendant guilty of murder.
After firing the shot, the state argued that she must have known that she hit him, prompting her to place a call to 911. On this call, she pretended to be his wife, Joya, in an attempt to conceal her own identity.
Shut up.
Joya
and she probably she know that we look alike. Well, I'm not 100% alike, but we look similar. So if somebody see us on camera,
shut up.
Or she probably didn't even know the camera was there, but she's trying to pin it.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Because I wonder, did she know but also you could. She must not know the call can be traced and shit. She slow.
His wife, Joya, in an attempt to conceal her own identity. Joya DeRouen testified that she recognized Sasha's voice.
Remember, sorry, y'all. We was, girl, I'm barely even tipping you.
I'm telling you don't even have to. Okay, just talk. Just go.
But you remember I said you spelling it wrong. Mm-hmm. You kept spelling the name wrong.
Because she spelled it how she thought it was spelled.
But it's not spelled that way.
I was like, because she said G-O-A-I.
But I was like, but the things had her name J-O.
J-O-I.
Yeah, something like that. But I'm like, because I was like, girl, you just saw the name. You still spelling it wrong. And you was like, well, she said it was G. And I'm like.
Because I'm thinking, yeah, anyway.
That's why. Because you want to mess up and misspell your own name.
Yeah.
Own identity. Joya DeRouen testified that she recognized Sasha's voice on the 911 recording. She also explained that there were multiple pieces of information offered on the call that did not make sense. Sasha initially gave an incorrect address to the operator, accidentally offering the street where she used to live instead of the tower's apartments. Oh. She also provided an incorrect phone number, seemingly unaware that 911 could trace back the number that was used.
Can you describe to us what information the defendant got incorrect or what misinformation the defendant provided to 911?
Well, number one, she pronounced my name wrong. My last name is not DeRouen, it's DeRouen. She spelled it wrong. My first name, you couldn't tell whether she was going to spell it with a G or a J. It's with a J. And then Martell was not 28, he was 34.
I wonder, did Martell tell her that he was 28? Because when they met, she was 17. Because at this time, how old is she? At the time of the murder?
I guess she would have been 22 because she was 20 back in 2019. And then
she would have been
between
2021
and 20.
She 2021.
Yeah, something like that. Because this happened in 2021.
Oh, that happened in 21. So yeah, he couldn't, when he met her, he couldn't tell her he was as old as he was. Because you said, so basically when they met, it was in 2017.
When they met, it was in 2016. She was 17.
So she's born in 99. So if she's born in 99, when that happened, she would have been 20. If it might have happened in 2021. You know what I'm saying? She was 16, they met at 17. You just take the one.
She was 17 when they met at 16. Okay, it don't matter. Anyway, she was in her 20s. What's the point? What was you trying to say, though?
Basically, I'm trying to say for her to be comfortable, he downplayed his age.
20s. Yeah.
So at the time, she thinking he's in 21. She's thinking he's 28 at that time. So he had to tell her he was like 24, 25. But in reality, he's a lot old. No, because you want to say he was 28.
But you're giving all other false information, so it's kind of...
She's not giving other false information about her. She's giving false information. She's trying to make it seem like it's her at the scene of the crime. She doesn't know her name. Mm-hmm. She know her name, but she don't know how to spell it.
Yeah.
She know the last name. She really don't know how to pronounce it correctly.
Gotcha.
Because it's not how she introduced herself. So she'll just say what she think, but it's not pronounced the correct way. The phone number, she's trying to get the phone number correct, but they already tracking the phone number for what she's calling from. Mm-hmm. So as far as the birthday, she's thinking he's 28.
Yeah.
But in reality, he's a lot older. He's a lot older. If that was the wife would 100% know
his age.
Yeah. So he also, you know what I'm saying?
Just amongst a couple of other things that, were in the tape, it just was all over the place. It wasn't the correct information at all.
Sasha's defense team argued that the altercation with Martell from earlier in the night left Sasha fearful for her life. When she returned to the doorway, it was because she felt that she...
How's this self-defense, bro? Wait, not coming at you, Kevin. I'm talking about her defense. Mm-hmm. She left. So how's the altercation that happened prior makes any sense that it's self-defense? I was able to remove myself from the situation and I was able to leave. That's not self-defense if I did come back to and commit that crime.
Yeah.
What would make sense if you felt like your life was threatened and you was able to leave and you visibly have a phone in your hand, call 911 and say, hey, I still have property in the house. I just want to retrieve my property so I can leave, so I can gather my things and 100% leave.
Right.
Not to come back to a situation and I'll just shoot and I'm in fear for my life. There's a barrier in between y'all too, which is a door. And he's actively not opening the door for you, so your life is not in danger at all. What the fuck these... Bro, I ain't gonna hold you. You should know you was gonna lose the case if that was the defense.
Yeah.
soon as your attorney say that's your defense, fire them bitches. Cause there's nothing, And they need to start being straight up, hey, it's gonna be hard to win this case. We can't even roll with the self-defense thing because you was, be real with your client.
Fearful for her life. When she returned to the doorway, it was because she felt that she needed to collect her belongings from inside the apartment in order to leave. Shoeless, with her purse and bank cards inside, Sasha banged on the door, holding the gun that she had taken for her own protection.
Call police.
Her defense team withheld their opening statement until the prosecution had finished presenting its case. They called a single witness in her defense to explain what they claimed transpired that night, leading to Martell's death. That witness was Sasha Skare.
You've heard a lot of evidence before you. You've heard the what, you put the when, the where. Now you're going to hear about the why. I want you to pay attention during the state's case.
Well, when you got I ain't gonna hold you, your defense attorney, and he had you take the stand.
I see where he go.
Or self-defense. When you got a barrier between you and the...
I'm sorry, the defense's case in chief. You're going to hear from Miss Sasha Skare herself, and you're going to hear a version of events that happened that night. We're going to leave it up to you to make that decision. And ultimately, at the end, we believe you'll return the only verdict that makes sense, which is not guilty as to murder.
Sasha told the jury that she met Martell years earlier. He had presented himself to her at that time as a 24-year-old rapper, though he must have been at least 30 years old. Years later, the two reconnected as friends, becoming romantically involved in the 6 to 8 months before his death. Sasha did not drive. 2 to 3 times a week, Martell would collect her from her mother's home in Austin and drive her back to his apartment in San Antonio. This is what had occurred earlier on January 22nd. At the apartment, Sasha began a painting, which was intended for the promotion of Martell's performance, scheduled for that coming weekend. The rapper worked on his music nearby before the two settled down for dinner and a movie. Following dinner, Sasha took a call from a photographer who she was looking to work with to further her own career ambitions. She used the iPad to FaceTime in the kitchen. All the while, Martell sat on the couch within earshot of the discussion.
You think she was actually talking to another dude and things got heated?
Like, what you mean? Like talking to... Because the person that she said she was talking to could have been a dude. So, yeah, it stands
No.
Or another dude, like on that level.
Like on flirtations or...
anything possible.
Sasha claimed that this phone call triggered the argument that followed. She characterized Martell as jealous and angry. The argument turned physical. The incident inside the apartment came to an end when Sasha claimed to have leapt over the kitchen counter, avoiding the broken dishes on the one side as she was barefoot, and ran from the unit, carrying only her cell phone and the gun.
Where did you get the gun from?
But it's his gun that was in the closet.
Kitchen and
But it was his gun in the closet, right? Because it was missing the gun and the...
Yeah, unless he just got the gun just laid out.
But why if I'm in my home?
Yeah, I don't... It's just that part right there. I'm like, how did you retrieve the gun?
But also it was a toaster in the bedroom.
Because the bed and stuff.
Because you remember the broken nail and
all of that. So, yeah, true.
His do-rag was ripped out the head and the sheets bottled.
Upset because he felt like I was on the phone with another man.
Why did you grab the weapon?
I grabbed it to tell him, after I grabbed it, I told him, don't touch me.
Okay. Were you in fear for your life at that point?
Yes, I was. I started backing up out of the bedroom. When I backed up out of the bedroom, he started following me. I started grabbing dishes out of the cabinets and throwing it in between us.
Sasha stood in court to demonstrate for jurors what she said occurred just after she was captured by the doorbell camera. Outside the doorway, she banged on the door to get Martell's attention. Her explanation for how the gun was fired offered little for her defense.
How exactly was the gun discharged?
As I was knocking on the door, I just threw the gun up and I just shot.
You ain't just throw the gun up and just shot. That's an aim. You directed a perfect aim to hit him in the head.
Come on, man.
Through a door. You don't know where his position at. That ain't, I just threw, no, that's a perfect aim. You knew exactly where he was.
The gun went off? Yes. Okay. Ms. Skare, when he fired that shot, did you know Martell was behind that door?
No, sir, I didn't.
Did you mean to hurt Martell?
Not at all.
Tell the jury, what was your intent when that gun fired?
Man, we ain't finna believe that shit. I could look past that. That shit don't work for me.
I guess My intent was just to get his attention.
The prosecution did not argue that the altercation that caused so much damage inside had not taken place, nor that Sasha had not been injured as a result. On cross-examination, they did question whether the argument had in fact left her in fear for her life. Sasha's actions after the fact suggested otherwise. First, she knocked on other neighbors' doors, but did not request help. Instead, she borrowed a cell phone charger. When her cell phone had gained a partial charge from the stairwell in the building, Sasha did call 911, but not for her own safety. The state argued that she made the call because she knew that the bullet struck Martell. They also argued that she could not have been scared for her life, or she never would have chosen to return to the apartment with the gun.
Because 9 times out of 10, when you shot, I'm pretty sure you heard him fall.
Also, you had time to, this 100% is first degree, because...
You had time to retrieve your item. Oh, go ahead, my bad.
Charge the phone up.
Oh, yeah.
It took you time to charge the phone up to the point where... Because obviously the phone was dead. You had to sit there and let it charge, and then you had to ponder on what the fuck you was about to do.
And even just that, your bag is in the bedroom. I would have grabbed my bag, put my shoes on, and I would have left. Because it seemed like that's all you really have over there is your bag with your personal items and stuff in there. You had enough time to leave the bedroom, go to the kitchen, go in the cabinet, throw in dishes, like all this. You had time to get your stuff and leave. And
but she also the self-defense claim don't even work. Because you wasn't even inside the apartment at the time of the scuffle. Well, of the time of the murder.
Yeah.
Murder. My bad. But that, and you was able to retreat. So that in itself, but what makes it 100% premeditated is the fact that you went out, you charged your phone, you knocked on other doors, was able to get a charger, charge your phone up, and then go back and commit the murder. That's one.
And 9 times out of 10, you did know he was behind the door because you knocking on the door, and he's probably coming up to the door,
or
telling
he's
you
talking
to you through the door, telling you to either leave
and so you
or
just
whatever.
Aim and shot.
And you just aim. You did know he was behind the door, and you also, like I said, probably heard him when he either fell, slumped over. You heard something that let you know that yes, I did hit him.
Was your intent to kill him? We don't 100% know, but was your intent 100% to shoot him? Yeah.
You know my theory on that, but yeah.
Well, if you shoot a gun, you intend on killing anybody. That's the intent of a gun. You don't fire a gun and don't expect to kill anyone. Because anybody can die from any parts of the body. So you pull that trigger. Theory, the intent is to kill.
That's just me.
She would have simply waited for a friend to pick her up from the building, which they eventually did.
You make a call to 911, correct?
That was one of the calls that I made, yes.
Yes. Now, it's your testimony that you went back to the apartment and started banging on the door again, correct?
Yes.
And you had the gun with you?
Yes.
So it is your...
Did she make the 911 call before the shot or after the shot?
How he just put it made it seem like
before. Because she made the call before. Oh,
I don't know.
That's 100% premeditated.
I don't want to
I'm just saying, if it was before, see.
You're banging on the door again, correct?
Yes.
And you had the gun with you?
Yes.
So it is your testimony that you're so scared to death while you're in the apartment. You leave with a gun, and you come back to the same place where you're afraid, correct? Mm-hmm. Is that your testimony?
Yes, sir.
So instead of calling 911 and saying, hey, I've just been assaulted, I've just been choked, you didn't do that, correct?
No, sir, I didn't.
You had a gun in your hand, and you could have found a safe place to remain and call police, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you do that?
No, sir, I didn't.
And there you go.
The state pressured Sasha to provide an explanation as to why she had raised the gun in her hand at all, if her intent was not to fire it.
You're raising the gun. And why are you raising the gun?
guess because at the time I just went mad. I just went insane.
Why are you raising a gun? For what function? For what reason are you raising the gun?
No reason, girl.
I wouldn't necessarily say to shoot it because.
Then why?
Like, if you gonna run with this, motherfucker, your dude should have coached you very well. But obviously, he didn't. He must be quarter pointing like a motherfucker. But all you had to do, like, if you gonna use this as a scenario, say I had the gun up because I was afraid that he was gonna at least come out the door and jump on me, and I thought I heard him unlocking the door, getting ready because he was arguing me.
But that's not. But
let me finish.
Okay,
let me
go
finish.
ahead.
I'm just using a scenario, and I'm not saying the definite.
And then I want to say something.
But all I'm saying is she should have said we was in a heated argument. I thought he was gonna come out the door and launch at me. So when I heard him, it sounded like he came running, fumbling with the door. I just pulled. I wasn't, but in that degree, it's second degree. I wasn't intent. She has so much that shows that it's in.
But you know something, even that, if I'm in the courtroom, I'm the prosecutor, I'm on the jury, whatever, that wouldn't work for me.
It's better than this. Is what I'm saying.
I guess it's better than nothing, having nothing, but it's not good at all because at the end of the day, you still are at my door. If you're that much in fear, like he's locked the door.
Well, what she should have said was, I was asking him for my.
There's ways to do things.
No, listen, but because you never things. There is ways to do things, but at the heated arguments, a lot of people are not using their common sense. A lot of people are not using their logical mindset. Right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people are acting out of emotions. So I'm just saying she should have approached it and said, "Hey, I went back to retrieve my items." We argument ensued from there. I was in fear that he was going to bombard through the door and attack me like he previously had done, and I shot the gun.
And
that would have been my argument.
Yeah, which they've kind of already shut that down because, like he stated, you could have called authorities. You could have went somewhere, got a safe place, called authorities, and we would have been able to get your items.
Yeah, and I said that earlier.
Yeah, so that still wouldn't have worked. I get what you're doing. Oh, I'm not what you're doing, but what you're saying, and to help her case.
No, I'm saying
for her defense.
Her defense attorney ass.
I get. You know, that's what, you know.
Yeah.
If you was, but yeah,
it's still ass.
There's ways to shut all that down.
I agree with you because at the end of the day, it's still ass. Any way you pull it, because like I said earlier, no matter how you try to twist and turn it, you have already separated yourself with the supposedly aggressor. If you really want to retrieve your items, call the police, get the police involved, and get your items, and we move on. If you are in fear.
And also at the end of the fear, if anything, if I'm in his shoes, I get that they got into a scuffle. I don't know what happened and how all that is. I don't know who he is as a person. I don't know his character. But you the one with the gun. I'm more scared of you. Sure. Like, I'm scared of you, baby girl.
Sure.
So.
And even if he was a threat and you was able to retrieve the gun, right, and you fled the scene, even if the police come on the scene, you say, "Hey, I grabbed this weapon because I was in fear, and I just grabbed it for self-defense purposes, but I was able to escape out the apartment, and now I contacted you."
Or I grabbed it. My thing also, maybe I was able to get to it. I grabbed it so that he wouldn't be able to get to it.
True.
I didn't have any intent on using it or anything. I just didn't want anything to escalate, and that's. Whatever, but like I said, I'm scared of you. You got the gun, girl.
Also, like we said before, I now need to know what was the premise of her calling 911. Was that prior to going back, or was that after? Because now, like me, I'm leaning like,
but you know something,
first degree intent.
But you know something, even if it was after, because we counted how he worded, made it seem like it was before. But even if it was after. My thing is, for me, it's still, in a sense, intent because you fired a gun. You never mentioned you fired a gun. You also sit up here saying that you were his wife and giving the name, giving the incorrect address, giving like all this
leading
information
with
that's incorrect.
False pretense?
You never stated like, hey, I fired a gun. Like, because my thing is, regardless of the fact if I don't know if I hit somebody or not, I know what I just did. And I want to be sure. I want to make sure whatever repercussions, because again, if I have a gun in my hand and I up it and I shoot, I got to deal with those consequences, whatever they are. If I shot somebody, if I didn't, or whatever, that I have to think about that later, or whatever the case may be. But in this, you never mention that at all. You act like you locked out of your house, like it's nothing really too serious, and the dude may be injured. She said maybe injured. Remember she said that. Yeah. She's like, he may be injured.
Because I think a wife might say he's in. I fear something of the worst.
Something has happened, or
fear of the worst.
I haven't been able to get in contact. Whatever.
I'm standing outside the home and there's a hole inside of our. Then it's the verbiage, because you would have said there's a hole inside of our door. I was coming home. I didn't have the key because he was there. And I'm expecting him. Yeah, it's a lot of the verbiage too. Yeah. Anyway it goes. Anyway she twisted it, turned it. She was going to jail. My thing is whether or not it's first degree, capital, manslaughter, second degree. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But me, my in my head, looking at everything, is first degree premeditated. Yeah. And she still got this other case lingering too, and that one's premeditated. And you should go, anytime you're in the commission of a crime, somebody dies in the commission of a crime, you even orchestrated the crime, you are charged with their murder. Yeah. So, you got 2 murders under your belt.
There would be no other answer, but
the other answer is that you were angry, decided to shoot at him. That would be another reason why you raised your gun.
I didn't decide to shoot at him though.
She's lying like
After Sasha left the building, she told the jury that she disposed of the weapon in a nearby dumpster because she did not want to be carrying it around. 2 days after the shooting, she took photos of her black eye and scratches to document the injuries that she said she sustained that night.
So you took those photos 2 days after. That looked like a fresh wound. It don't even look like it has any healing to it, right? And if you took the photos 2 days after, how can I 100% say he committed these markings on you? You could have staged that.
And also, my thing is, if you had no intent on actually harming him, or if you didn't know that you actually harmed him, you should have just called, gave it, whatever. Just been honest and truthful and stayed on the scene. I get a lot of people, whatever. But you should have stayed on the scene for them to take pictures of your injuries, for them to, like, if now...
It might have would have helped your case.
It probably would have went a little different. Maybe then probably would have been a stronger self-defense case or whatever the case may be. But still, even with the other stuff, the fact that you are outside of the door is locked and all of that, it's still kind of like, is it really self-defense? Still no, in that sense, but... They would have been able to take pictures at least of your injuries, but I'm just kind of.
Could that also be makeup?
I did think that, but I was like, I don't want to take away from if she did sustain injuries and stuff like that. I wasn't there. I don't know.
In closing arguments, the prosecution and defense rehashed the details of Sasha's story, as well as the indisputable facts, and interpreted them back to the jury. In the state's interpretation, Sasha knew that Martell was on the other side of the door when she fired. He must have been speaking to her, or more likely, telling her to leave. The defense suggested that Martell must have thought that the noise of the pistol banging on the door was the police, and so he approached the peephole to take a look in complete silence. Sasha had no idea that he was standing there.
That could have been...
No dispute that she broke and threw things onto the ground. After he kicks her out and she's banging on the door, do you think he's going to tiptoe quietly to the door without saying a word? Or what is more likely, that he's going to be angry as well and tell her, go away, leave me alone, get away. All of a sudden, he's just going to tiptoe and not say anything? No. He was responding through the door, and she shot him through the door. Yeah. Not only did she shoot him through the door, she shot him through the middle of the door, knowing he's right behind her.
Banging on the door, he's silent. So she's banging with that gun. She wants to get his attention and say, open the door, I need my stuff. Steps back, pulls the gun up, and the gun goes off as she's pulling it up. And I'm not saying goes off accidentally. She admits to pulling the trigger. She's owning it. She stood in the light. And
yo, the motion doesn't even make sense because it's taller than her. The height range of it is taller than her. It's not a swift motion. I pulled it. It's I pointed it up and shot. Even the height range of the bullet doesn't indicate that she was in a swinging motion. Because it would have been a lower level shot. More in the gut, in the leg or something. And a headshot, you pointed it up. Right? Mm-hmm. Or am I...
Said it. She didn't accidentally discharge it as it's coming up. She pulled it up and fired. Unfortunately, I speculate Martell, looking to see if it's the police, leans down to a really low peephole, and this horrific thing happens. Martell gets shot straight in the head and falls dead to the floor.
The jury took 2 hours to return a guilty verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant Sasha Skare guilty of the offense of murder as charged in the indictment, signed the foreperson of the grand jury.
When he got first degree.
The foundation of Sasha's defense was her own testimony, and the jury obviously did not find it believable. Following the verdict, the same jury deliberated for 4.5 hours to determine Sasha's sentence. She faced a maximum term of life in prison. She was given 55 years.
Just 55? That's a life.
1 week before Sasha's trial commenced, she was offered a plea deal that would have sentenced her to 20 years in prison.
She didn't take the plea?
Under the jury's longer punishment, she will be eligible for parole in 2048.
Shorty, you dumb than a motherfucker. Why you didn't take the plea? 20? And why your attorneys didn't tell you to take the plea?
Or is that her taking?
No. So she got 50 years, 50 something years, right? 55. Mm-hmm. You should be eligible for parole after a certain period of time.
Oh, should be eligible. Oh, okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I could be.
No.
She was given 55 years. 1 week before Sasha's trial commenced, she was offered a plea deal that would have sentenced her to 20 years in prison. Under the jury's longer punishment, she will be eligible for parole in 2048.
Yeah.
So fix your sheets, if you have any, because you've made your bed and now it's time to lay in it.
Martell Cardone DeRouen is remembered as a loving family man, a decorated Air Force veteran, and talented musician. And that was the tragic case of Martell DeRouen and Sasha Skare.
Now he pop out with the puppies.
Rest in peace to Martell.
Facts, man.
That's crazy.
But yeah, man, like, why your attorneys didn't tell you? They were ass the whole time anyway, but I still would have told my client to. I'm so sorry. I'm just so used to it.
You know something? Honestly.
Would you have told your client just to take the 20?
You gonna have to say, if I don't really have nothing to work with. And in this case, you didn't have much to work with. We have you on camera, you holding the gun.
And the
door was closed, the door was locked. You made the 911 call, you gave a false name, you gave a false address. You got everything. We have everything. Like, they really didn't have anything to work with. So in this case, yes, I would have just told you to take the plea.
20 years? You can't beat 20 years, bro.
I would just
20 years. at the end of the day, I would have said take that. You would have had the 20 years, right? After the 20 years, you probably would have did. Let me see. I said Africa. Let's see. What am I looking for?
With the percentage thing, is that what you're trying to see?
Mm-hmm. Texas prison percentage 80. So they got to do at least 80%. Mm-hmm. So what's 80% of 20? At least 16.
Yeah.
At least 16 years. So she would have did at least 16 years. They probably just put a good time on it. They probably would have did this. They probably would have did that. She probably could have came home after 12 years. You dumb. You dumb. Yeah, your attorneys was ass though. Good thing they were ass because they got a proper conviction. I would push them for life because it's 100% premeditated murder. But yeah, your attorneys was ass. Very dumb. I'm glad they were though. You know.
I ain't gonna necessarily say that they was dumb in a sense. It's just the fact that they didn't have like the prosecutor's cases was too strong because they had everything they needed. Y'all didn't have anything.
What I'm saying is, yeah, I would have told her to.
But I guess they were done in the sense of not telling her to take the plea.
Yeah,
I guess
the case was weak.
That, but
too weak of a case to do anything.
Yeah. Again, rest in peace to Martell, because
Facts,
again, I don't know what happened in that apartment, but he didn't deserve to lose his life.
No, yeah, especially when you was able to retreat.
Yeah,
and he's not after you anymore.
Yeah,
move on, shorty.
Yeah.
But hey, man, y'all spam us up in the comments. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts about it for us in the comment section down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is we are. We are.
No time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar, 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 dollar.